Hi, David Odell with Odell Complete Concrete. Here we are on a garage floor slab we're going to be placing. The stem wall was already in when I arrived. This is actually the pumper's job, Kenny. And right here we're showing nailing the expansion felt along the perimeter. And the nice thing about that expansion felt, because it's 1/2 inch wide, and the power trowel that I'm going to be using gets within like 1/4 inch of the wall, so the power trowel we're using will actually catch the edges, so we don't have to mess around with it much by hand. See that little pink sticker on that riser? That's the test pipe for testing the sewer lines for pressure. You fill that up with water. If nothing leaks out in 24-hour span, then you're good to bury, and then you pass inspection. So that's what that is. But the pink sticker itself represents termites. This all has to be sprayed for subterranean termites prior to getting, inspection for. So the garage area has been sprayed. That was the signature for that. Part 2 of this will be the house foundation. Then we'll get another sticker for that, showing that it's been sprayed. But I think this job here went about 20 yards. We're pouring it at about 4 inches, 4.5 inches. We've got rebar on 2-foot centers. The nice thing about these dobies, or they're not really dobies, they're actually chairs for the rebar, but you don't really have to tie your rebar because they snap into it, on the cross sections. And the fact that they're only 1.5 inches means they work well in a 4-inch slab, because dobies, you get your 2-inch, you get your 3-inch, but with these chairs, they're 1.5 inches, and those are found at Home Depot online, and they're less than the concrete dobies. They're about half price, so that's the way to go for 4-inch. Use these. Now we're almost poured out here, and this is all pre-marked and pre-drilled, so all we have to do is just attach this header. The screws are in the form, the holes are in the concrete, so it makes it fast. You never really have to stop pouring. The truck comes out, the form goes up, boom. Little windy today. It's not so windy right now, but the wind keeps picking up as we go. So as that happened, we tried to keep it sealed. Through every step of the process, we're trying to seal the concrete. In other words, get some steel on there as quick as possible so the water can't get sucked out by the wind so quickly. This is a 3,000 PSI with fiber mesh, got 1 pound per yard. And this is a special mix that they have. They call it their blend. And it's basically half pea gravel, half big rock. So it is a lower PSI when you use the same amount of cement versus just big rock. Say you went with a solid big rock 5-sack, you're going to get a higher PSI than if you had half big rock and half small rock. So if you add another half a sack of cement, then you're going to get back up there where you want to be. But the nice thing about this particular mix is that it's easier to lay down, easier to joint. It has some advantages. So Doug's bull floating, he's got the 5-foot magnesium, and I'm right behind him with the 5-foot Fresno. We have Joe and Greg on the screed. We have Braxton on the come along, and then we have Kenny on the chute. Oh, we do have Jacob as well. He's also running a come along. So this is all DIY, this whole project. The homeowner here, Brian, he has designed the whole plan that he submitted to the city, and he's building this. Basically, him and one friend are doing this whole project. They've came up with the plans, they submitted them, and everything on this plan is based on dimensional lumber, so he doesn't have a lot of waste, in other words, the way he's designed this. All of his doors and windows he got on Marketplace. Out of, they're, like they like to remodel a lot down in Newport and Laguna Beach, and the stuff's still, perfectly good condition. So he likes to shop down there, gets great deals on all of his stuff that he's going to be using here, and it's super high quality. So that windows, doors, it's all secondhand, but it's the high quality. A lot of times when you're working in these wind conditions, and you can tell it's getting really windy now because of the trees, you see those whipping in the background, you'll see some shrinkage cracks start to appear in between each stage of, you're working the car, between the bowl float, the Fresno. Every now and then you'll see some checking or cracking, and then it's going bad, and then you're going to need a power trowel to really lock it in and bring it back together. But in this case here, we didn't have any of that because we were able to stay on top of it, keep all the tools going before it had a chance to really have that water suck out of there too quickly. We will be joining this as well. We're going to have, I think, 3 each way on this one. So they're going to be about 10-foot sections. On the first load, we've already got our joints in, so we're just following the concrete. The first load gets their joints first, and then we're just going to kind of keep up with it all the way through. Here's your 5-foot cutter. Nice and lightweight, easy to use. The nice thing about what you can do with these joints, if you like the look of that, you could actually, at this point, you could actually close those joints up completely by filling them with just the cream. And since you've separated the rocks, it's going to crack back on those lines straight. You'll visually see the crack, but you have a really smooth surface. And then what you can do is put some nice different finishes on the surface, stain, sealer, stuff like that. Creates a nice look. You get the crack visual. The acid etch stain will take a little differently in there, so you get all that going on. And then that's what we'll be doing on this second pour, just that technique. On the house foundation, we will be closing them up. And then I'm going to show how the cracks followed the line even though we creamed them back in. Looks pretty cool. Here's Greg. He's taking a little break right there. It's a good spot to sit because of the height of that stemmy. And there's a reason that stem wall's that high. You're probably, I don't know if anybody's wondering why is that stem wall so high, but I was initially. And the reason for that is he wanted a 12-foot high door, but he can't have the walls over 12 feet. So he had to build the stem wall up higher so the wall still could be the certain distance to meet the city requirement. He just has a higher foundation now, stem wall. So that stem wall makes up for basically the header beam across the doorway. So here's the power trowel I was talking about earlier. It's a 2-footer, and it's got, right now we have the pan on the bottom. So we're on it real early. That's why he's standing in the sliders, so he doesn't sink in. And we can bring it right up and over that expansion joint, which we did, and it made it nice and flat all the way across. So that's why you can get out here early, because it's a pan and it's only 2 foot, so it's fairly lightweight. So you can get out there early, get it nice and flat, and just have some fun with it, really. So even though this is not the final pass with the power trowel, notice how I'm sealing it up right behind him on each pass, because of the wind situation. That's why I'm doing that. Now if it wasn't windy, I could have just left it open and just kept hitting it with the power trowel, but I didn't really want to wait that long in this wind condition. So we would power trowel, reseal, power trowel, reseal, throughout the whole project until the final moment of truth. So the whole job, there's really no knee boarding to do on this one because we have all the right tools to avoid that. We've got the power trowel and we've got funny trowels. We've got walking joiners. So an important factor to remember on these kind of situations where it's this windy and it's hot, I think we're in the 90s and we're blowing 20 plus winds, is the curing. You're going to need a curing compound on this. You're going to want 100% coverage, if not more, and you're going to want it on there as soon as you think you're done. Because what that'll do is protect it from the wind. There was a bad spot right here I had to get in on. This was one spot I had to jump out on. I forget. Oh, this is where the power trowel might have went out early and left a ding or something in it. So a little touch up right there. So I think I got the hole out of there. Now the power trowel can go back over it and I won't have a problem with that area. Well, the pan just came off and now we're just sitting on blades. Pan or no pan on this, we can still get within about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of the wall. That's the way this machine's designed to catch walls. Now we're on that last load, so we had to give it a little break here and let it catch up to the first load. There's a little mark in there that he had to run that machine a little bit longer than you normally would in one spot to try to fill in a little void. But it ended up getting it. Here's a little overhead from the drone. So this is when it's all wrapped up. I don't think the curing compound has went on yet, but that's coming up real soon. I think right after this is when they got on the compound. You can see it over there in the far end of the screen, the compound sitting there. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned for the next one because that one's a 60-yarder on that house foundation. And that's the technique where you fill in the joints and watch it crack on them. That whole house, the flooring is the concrete. It's going to be a stainless steel. That's why we did it that way. But thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.
Odell. Complete. Concrete.